Sergeant at Arms will please secure the chamber doors. Members, please take your seats. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. President.
All right, Senators, we are very pleased today to have Imam Tarif Shraim of the University of Maryland Chaplain in College Park, guest of the distinguished senator from the 21st District. Please rise for the invocation.
Thank you, President Ferguson, for the opportunity and honor to be here. And I would like to also thank my sponsoring senator, Senator ROSAPEPE, for this honor and invitation to be here. Thank you all for welcoming me into this beautiful and historic chamber. Let us pray. In the name of God, most compassionate, most merciful, our Creator and Sustainer, we humbly ask you to purify our hearts with sincere convictions that we do not betray our own prayers with actions that contradict them. Bless this chamber and all the souls that serve in it. Help them see the positions for which they've been elected as sacred trusts, and empower them to bear the responsibility of leadership with utmost integrity and humility. Fill their hearts with the love of truth, with charity and righteousness, that they may serve our state ably and justly. Give them the wisdom to know and to do what is right, and the courage to challenge and defy anything at all that would diminish justice in our land. Inspire them with awareness, compassion, and willpower, that they always stand in solidarity with those who are suffering, and that they don't ever neglect those they are meant to serve. Enable them to become beacons of light that illuminate our nights of darkness, and guide them to become a shining example of courage and hope that uplifts our lives and inspires all of us for generations to come. As we reflect on this moment and look towards tomorrow, may we recognize that the ultimate test of a life well lived depends not on how much we accumulate, but how well others think of us, that the more love we give away, the more we shine. That when our lives are over, our success as human beings will be measured not by the size of our wealth, status, or power, but by the quality of our characters, the size of our hearts, and the lives we touched and transformed. May our spiritual and moral fabric be so firmly rooted that we're able to weather life's storms and pressures and remain committed to upholding our sacred trusts and principles no matter the condition or circumstance. May we respond right now to the deep promptings of our world and the promptings in our hearts to bring out of ourselves and in others what is most beautiful, most just, most inspiring, and most life-affirming. May you all remember that after every long night is a beautiful dawn. And may we all fill our lives today and every day with the dedication and courage to leave our noble mark on our beloved nation and all of earth. Amen.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 21st District.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank the Imam for joining us today. For more than 20 years, he has served the more than 3,000 Muslim students at the University of Maryland, as well as founding the Center for Muslim Studies at the university and working throughout the community. I would move the Imam's prayer be journalized.
Without objection, thank you, Senator. We will certainly journalize the Imam's wonderful invocation this morning and thank him for being here with us today. Thank you. All right, has everyone recorded their presence in the chamber? Appears largely so. All right, the clerk will take the call. With 44 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland is now in session. Introductions. Yes, Chair recognizes Senator from District 6.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's always a joy to have people coming in from our districts, but I have the great opportunity to talk about one of our schools in Baltimore County that is visiting Annapolis. And I'd like for them to all stand, and I hope we can give Kenwood High School a great welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Mr. President.
Kenwood, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Chair recognizes Senator from Arundel.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'd like to introduce one of the members of District 32, Zamina Williams. Zamina's here today to watch what we do. She actually is the president of Onyx Construction Company, an IT service provider and cybersecurity company, and she's a recent graduate of Leadership Maryland. Please help me welcome Zamina Williams.
Wonderful. Welcome. Welcome. Enjoy yourself today. Yes, Chair recognizes Senator from Montgomery County.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like the body to join me in welcoming Kensington Town Council Member Nate Angle above me, behind me here. You know, for those of you who represent municipalities, you know that you not only get to know your town council members as policymakers and colleagues, but also as human beings. And Nate is not only a wonderful council member, he's also an incredible father and husband and volunteer and community member. Please welcome Council Member Nate Angle.
Welcome. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
And then, Mr. President, one unrelated announcement. Joining us also in the gallery today is the Living Legacy Foundation. That's the state's organ donation foundation. They recently merged with the Washington Regional Transplant Center, and together they are now rebranded as the Infinite Legacy Foundation. They're joining us in the gallery and also tonight at 5 p.m. at Red Wine. I hope you'll join me in welcoming the Infinite Legacy Foundation.
Wonderful. Welcome. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Excellent. Yes, Chair recognizes Senator from the Lower Eastern Shore.
Good morning, Mr. President and colleagues. I am pleased to introduce my intern, Dylan Bradley. He is a student, a junior at the University of Maryland College Park, and he prepared for his internship by taking the Maryland General Assembly course beforehand. I also wanted to point out that Dylan's grandfather was a three-term state senator in New Hampshire and was known as the conscience of the Senate in New Hampshire for his commitment to public service. So he has been a joy to have with us, a great addition. Please welcome Dylan.
Welcome, welcome. The Senate in New Hampshire is a little bit more exclusive. The House, I think it's the House that's got you. If you live in the state, you're in the House of Delegates in New Hampshire. Yeah. Excellent. Very welcome. Welcome. We're glad you could join us. Senator from the Upper Eastern Shore.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I would also like to introduce our intern that just starting with us today. Name is Dan Granzow. He is a recent graduate from Towson University, majored in both communications and poli-sci. Also graduate from Archbishop Spalding right here in Anne Arundel County, but more importantly, recently moved to the beautiful Eastern Shore with his family. So
Wonderful.
Please welcome Dan.
Welcome. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate your work this session. Excellent. All right. Any other announcements? Any other introductions? A quick announcement, just a procedural thing for the Senate. We've been working on this for a while. As many have known, we have had Jim, who's our incredible, wonderful Senate photographer, has had regular paper photographs. Is that paper photographs? I guess it is paper, isn't it? That have been available through Robin's desk that you can go through the binder. We are going to move those to be online and available on the General Assembly website. So hopefully we're testing it this week that it'll be up. So it will be available not just for members, but also for members of the public who come in. So when we have guests that are viewing and that come up for their resolutions, that we'll be able to have those, and they'll have those pictures available electronically. An important note about that. This is a very important note. Because they will be online, we have an official photographer. We've kind of gotten a little bit lax on what people taking with cell phones and other people's cell phones. We are going to be a lot more strict about making sure that Jim can get the picture. Unfortunately, a lot of the pictures have people standing up in the middle of them with cell phones handed out, and it just looks pretty unprofessional and not like the Senate. So we're going to be much more focused on making sure that Jim can get a good shot, because we'll now have much more easily accessible photos, which I think will make it easier for everyone. So any questions about that? Appears not. All right. Any other business before we jump in today? If not, so we consider the reading of the journal from the prior legislative day. We've got some more bills. This is calendar number 16. Clerk will read the bills.
Senate Bill 365, Senator Lamb, Health Insurance, Qualified Resident Enrollment Program, Access to Care Act, Finance.
Majority Leader moves to be considered the reading of the bills. We have some legislative bond initiatives. Clerk will read the bond initiatives.
Number 1, Senator McKay, Georges Creek Ambulance Service Facility, Budget and Taxation. Number 2, Senator McKay, Town of Luke Maintenance Storage Building, Budget and Taxation.
Majority Leader moves to be considered the reading of the bond initiatives. They will go to the Capital Committee. We have got a second reader calendar out of the Education, Energy, and the Environment Committee. Clerk will read the calendar.
Senate Bill 80, Emergency Bill. Senator Bailey, Natural Resources, Blue and Flathead Catfish, Finfish, Trotline License Establishment, favorable.
All right. Favorable. Chair recognizes the Senator from the Lower Eastern Shore as the floor leader.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. I'm pleased to present to you Senate Bill 80. This is an emergency bill. It establishes the commercial blue and flathead catfish, finfish, trotline license. The license was previously authorized under a pilot program which terminated in 2022. The reason that it is an emergency bill, it's to ensure that DNR, the Department of Natural Resources, can resume issuing these licenses as soon as possible to reduce the effect that the sunsetting of the previous bill has had on our state's ability to reduce the population of blue and flathead catfish. The committee passed the bill unanimously, and I move for a favorable report of SB 80.
All right. Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? My son and I caught a few flathead catfish as invasive species at one of the state parks this summer, so it's very exciting. He was very excited to catch a catfish. All right, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 80 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 127, Senator Ellis, Maryland Longitudinal Data System Center Student FAFSA Data Reporting Requirement, favorable with one amendment.
All right, Chair recognizes the Senator from Baltimore City as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 127 requires, under current law, each county is required to report data to the Maryland Longitudinal Data System, and then also to report it to MHEC, and then for MHEC to report it to the General Assembly. This bill does a couple things. One, it eliminates the requirement for each county board to report this FAFSA to the center, and it also eliminates the requirement to report it to MHEC and just says that they should just report it directly to the General Assembly. This is an important adjustment. It facilitates the collection of all kinds of data, the number of students who who request a FAFSA, and the number of students who actually complete the FAFSA, various demographic information about completion as well. So it's a good law that we passed, but we're making this administrative adjustment. There's one amendment that's very consequential. It is changing the name of the committee from Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs to EEE. Thank you very much. I move for the adoption of the committee report with an amendment.
All right, the floor leader moves for the adoption of the one committee amendment and the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? Any objections with the amendment? Appears not. Amendment is adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 127 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. I believe we have one more. Yes. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 67, Senator BEIDLE, Clerk of the Circuit Court Civil Commission's Presentation and Reporting, re-referred to JPR.
All right, the bill will be re-referred to JPR, adding up to the total. JPR, the workhorses. All right, we've got a letter from the Senate. Clerk will, I'm sorry, message from the House. I think I'm out of order here. Yes, message from the House. Clerk will read the message.
By the Majority Leader, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, the Governor of Maryland has signified his intention of addressing the General Assembly of Maryland on Wednesday, February 1st, 2023 at 12 noon in the House chamber. We propose, with your concurrence, a joint meeting of the two houses for this occasion and have appointed delegates Corman and Buckle to escort your honorable body to the House chamber. We further propose the appointment of a joint committee to escort the governor to the House chamber. We've appointed delegates Jacobs and Shetty. We further propose the appointment of a joint committee to escort the lieutenant governor to the House chamber. We've appointed delegates Wilkins and Hartman. By order, Sylvia Siegert, Chief Clerk.
Yep. All right, message having been read is ordered journalized. We now have a message to the House. Clerk will read the message.
By the Majority Leader, ladies and gentlemen of the House of Delegates, we have received your message that the Governor has signified his intention to address the General Assembly of Maryland on Wednesday, February 1st, 2023 at 12 noon, and your proposal of a joint meeting of the General Assembly in the chamber of the House of Delegates. We respectfully concur in your message and have appointed on behalf of the Senate Senators King, Augustine, and Hershey as members of the Joint Committee to escort the Governor to the chamber of the House of Delegates. We have also appointed as members of the Joint Committee Senators Griffith, Gazzone, and Reedy to escort the Lieutenant Governor to the House chamber. By order, Nicole Alexander, Secretary of the Senate.
The message having been read is adopted. We have one last message here on appointments. Madam Clerk, do you have this message? I think we just recently finalized it. Clerk will read the... Clerk will read the message.
Resolved that the President makes the following appointments to the Special Joint Committee to elect the State Treasurer. Senator Augustine, Senate Chair. Senator King, Senator Gazzone, Senator Hershey, Senator Salling. By order, Nicole Alexander, Secretary.
All right, message having been read is adopted. That is the Treasurer Election Committee. So we are at the start of a term. We have a process for selecting the treasurer every 4 years. This is the committee that will review that process, and then we will all vote jointly in the House chamber. I forget when, 2 weeks? Something in short order on the state treasurer. So, all right, the desk is clear. Desk is clear. Any other announcements before we? Well, actually, let's do committee announcements first. Chair of Finance. Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Senate Finance Committee will meet at 1 p.m. in the committee room for bill hearings today, 1 p.m.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Chair recognizes the Chair of Education, Energy, and the Environment.
The Education, Energy, Environment Committee will meet today first at 1 o'clock for a briefing on energy policy, followed immediately by bill hearings.
Excellent. Thank you. Mr. Chair, Budget and Tax.
Thank you, Mr. President. At 1 o'clock, the Education Subcommittee will meet, and at 2 o'clock, it will be full committee voting.
Excellent. Thank you. Chair of Judicial Proceedings.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Judicial Proceedings Committee will meet today at 1 p.m. for bill hearings. We have 11 bills on the docket, mostly transportation and family law bills.
Off we go. Off we go. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Any other joint committees, delegations, caucuses? If not, announcement. Yes, Chair recognizes the Chair of the Capital Committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Just a reminder to the body that the guarantee date is February 6th, so I would just ask that if members have legislative bond initiatives that they plan to put in, please try to get it in by February 6th. Obviously, I'm always available, so if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Other announcements? Chair recognizes Senator from District 6.
We will be having always on Wednesdays our prayer meeting over at the Neil Room at 8 a.m. If you'd like to come, please come. But if I could, Mr. President, I just want a special privilege, if I could. We've had a couple incidents in Baltimore County, and it's very concerning. And it's concerning not just to me, but I think it's concerning to everybody here. I think about our students and our staff in our schools and how they need to be safe and protected. We've had 2 incidents in Baltimore County where 2 students have gotten stabbed. And I pray for those young people, but I pray for those that are there, that are afraid, because things like these are happening. And it's very concerning to me. So one thing that I do, I pray for our students. I pray for their safety. I pray for our staff. I pray for the staff there, our principals, our teachers, our counselors. I pray for their safety. I want them to go through the school, and I want them to come home the same way. I pray that we'll think about maybe safe measures that we could do, protect our students, protect our staff, even protect our loved ones, the parents that are going there. And when they go there, they got to pick the kids up. So it's just very concerning to me, Mr. President. And I hope we think about just safety measures we can do in some way to help and protect our students. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you so much, Senator. Thank you for that reflection, and certainly I think we're all very concerned, make sure that everyone is, especially our young people, are safe in the state. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is just a reminder that the governor's bills are up in the reception center up on the second floor if right after session and until noon to go and sign on to those bills. So I invite all of you to go up and do that.
Thank you, Madam Majority Leader. Anything else before we close out today? Appears not. Let's do a quorum call before we adjourn.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 44 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland remains in session. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate of Maryland stand adjourned until Wednesday, February 1st at 11:30 a.m.
11:30 a.m. Without objection, so ordered. Have a wonderful day.